Let us discuss heat conduction through a composite wall with thermal contact resistance. In the earlier videos of heat conduction through composite wall, part 1 and part 2, we have neglected the value and effect of thermal contact resistance. However, in many composite wall systems, the value and effect of thermal contact resistance is appreciable and hence cannot be neglected. While doing such analysis, we have made following assumptions. Assumption number 1, there is a perfect contact between two slabs material. Assumption number 2, the temperature of the individual slab is continuous. And assumption number 3, there is no temperature drop across the interfaces or at the plane of contact. Let us consider one such composite system made up of three individual slabs of different materials A, B, and C. Let us say the thickness of the slab A is L1, of B is L2, and of C slab is L3. Also, let us say left hand side of the slab material A is maintained at temperature TL, and right hand side of the slab material C is maintained at temperature TR. Here TL is greater than TR, so heat transfer will take place from left hand side to right hand side in this composite wall system and through the individual slabs. Now, following these three assumptions, if there exists perfect contact between the individual slab materials, there will be a single plane of contact. For example, if I consider slab A and slab B material, and if they are in perfect contact with each other, at the interface, there will be single plane of contact. To understand this, let us consider this diagram separately. Let's say this represents the slab A and this represents the slab B. So if there exists a perfect contact between slab material A and B, there will be a single plane of contact. Under such condition, if heat transfer takes place from slab A towards slab B, there won't be any temperature drop at this interface, and there will be a single temperature which can be represented as a temperature of this interface as a whole. So this condition is there if perfect contact is there. And area of this interface will be normal to the heat flow and will be available for heat flow. So this will be the geometrical area of this plane. Let's say it is represented by A. But in many real composite wall systems, these two slab materials meet at discrete locations only due to surface roughness and asperities. So let us understand this point. I have drawn this at the enlarged level. Now in real practice, these two slabs won't be perfectly smooth, or there will be some surface roughness, no matter how effective the manufacturing process is applied to smoothen these two surfaces. At micro level, these, because of surface roughness and asperities, these two surfaces will be in contact at some discrete locations or contact spots. So these two surfaces will be in contact here at this contact point, at this contact spot, this, and this. So surface roughness and asperities will cause these two surfaces to make contact at some discrete locations called as contact spots. Because of these contact spots, the area available for heat transfer will reduce. It will be lesser than the geometrical area of the plane. Moreover, the surface, because of the surface roughness, voids are formed at the interfaces, and these voids are filled with air. Now what happens? These two factors lead to some important phenomena. Because of these two surfaces, A and B, at the discrete locations or contact spots and formation of voids, the area available to heat transfer reduces. It is lesser than the geometrical area available. Second thing, these voids are filled with air. Air being the poor conductor of heat due to its thermal conductivity lesser than the thermal conductivity of the solid material, it resists the flow of heat. So these two factors give rise to a thermal resistance which is offered to the heat flow. And this thermal resistance is called as thermal contact resistance. This thermal contact resistance generated at the interface offers tremendous resistance to the heat flow. And As a result of this, temperature drop takes place at the interface. So if I draw the temperature variation, let's say this is the temperature TL, what we have shown here. So heat transfer will take place. So temperature drop will take place in the slab material from TL to T1. And this temperature drop will depend upon the thermal conductivity of this material, Ka. Now, because of this thermal contact resistance offered at the interface, temperature of the interface will drop, let's say from T1 to T2. And further, temperature drop will take place from T2 to, let's say, some value T3. This temperature drop will take place in the slab material B. So this is the temperature drop at the interface. Due to thermal contact resistance. Similarly, the same phenomena can occur at interface BC. Here also temperature drop will take place. So let me draw the temperature drop from TL to T1 in the slab material A, from T1 to T2 at the interface AB, from T2 to T3 in the slab material B, and from T3 to T4 at the interface BC, and from T4 to TR in the slab material C. So this temperature drop T1 and T2 due to thermal contact resistance at the interface AB, and temperature drop from T3 to T4 at the interface BC due to thermal contact resistance at the interface. Now this thermal contact resistance can be thought of so RT1 will be the thermal resistance offered by the material of wall A between temperature limit TL and T1, and RTC will be thermal contact resistance offered at the interface AB due to temperature drop T1, T2, and finally temperature drop will take place from T2 to T3 and in the material B, and it will offer thermal resistance RT2, and finally temperature drop will take place from T3 to T4 at the interface BC and it will offer thermal contact resistance RTC suffix BC, and temperature drop will take place from T4 to TR in the slab material C, and it will offer thermal resistance RT3. So this is the equivalent electrical circuit of heat conduction through the composite wall considering thermal contact resistance. Had there been had there been perfect contact between the slab material AB and BC, there would be no thermal contact resistances. So for perfect contact between surfaces, total thermal resistance will be RT1 plus RT2 plus RT3. And for imperfect contact between surfaces, R total will be RT1 plus RTC AB plus RT2 plus RTC BC plus RT3. So these two extra resistance in the form of thermal contact resistances will be introduced to the total resistance offered to the path of heat flow. Also, the thermal contact resistance is an equivalent resistance of parallel resistances offered to heat flow due to contact spots and air voids. So these contact spots and these voids formed, they are offering two resistances whose effects can be considered as they are connected in parallel, and the equivalent resistance is called as thermal contact resistance. So I can also draw one electrical circuit to show this. So this is TL, T1, RT1, and between T1 and T2, the temperature drop is taking place between the interface, and first resistance will be due to spots and second resistance will be due to voids. So equivalence of these two resistances connected in parallel is nothing but thermal contact resistance. So I can represent it by Q T1, sorry, TL, T1, RT1, and this RTC, that is thermal contact resistance at interface BC, is nothing but equivalence of these two parallel resistances offered by contact spots and voids formed at the interface. The contact resistance So basically, uh, what is the crux of this discussion? If there is a perfect contact, there will be no thermal contact offered by the interface. So there will be no temperature drop, and only material of the individual slabs will offer resistance to the path of the heat flow. But if there is not a perfect contact between the two slabs at the interface will offer extra resistance to the path of the heat flow. As a result of this, temperature drop will take place at the interface, and there won't be any single temperature which can be represented as a temperature of the interface as a whole. So these are very important inferences of this discussion. Now, this thermal contact resistance is depending upon so many parameters like surface roughness, the pressure applied to hold the two surfaces, that is contact pressure, the interference fluid within the voids, that is the fluid trapped between the voids, and interface temperature. So all these parameters affect the amount or value of thermal contact resistance. Now, how to eliminate or to reduce the effect or value of thermal contact resistance? So, point number one, if the pressure holding two surface is increased, the surface will be in close contact and it will resemble to the perfect contact, and hence no or lesser thermal contact resistance at the interface. This table shows the effect of this holding pressure or contact pressure on the value of thermal contact resistance. So if two copper surfaces are in contact and holding pressure between these two is 1 bar, the value of thermal contact resistance varies from 0.001 to 0.001. But if the pressure is increased to 100 bar, the thermal contact value will reduce to 0.0001 to 0.00005 bar. Similarly, application of the viscous fluids like glycerin on the interface can significantly reduce the contact resistance as compared to the air at a given pressure. Number three, a thermally conducting liquid is called a thermal grease. When applied between the contact surfaces, it can significantly reduce the thermal contact resistance. Number four, a high conducting paste like silicon oil, when they are applied between the contact surfaces before they are pressed against each other, it reduces the thermal contact resistance significantly. For example, when electronic components are joined to the heat sink, a silicon oil is applied between the two contact surfaces. So it reduces thermal contact resistances significantly and hence increases the heat transfer from electronic components to the heat sink significantly. And last one, thermal contact resistance can also be minimized by applying a soft metallic foil such as tin, silver, copper, nickel, or aluminum between the two surfaces. Because these materials are of high thermal conductivity, so they fill the gap and they provide a highly conducting path between the two surfaces. So this way we can minimize the value of thermal contact resistance. Now, how to calculate thermal resistances? So let us get the expressions for thermal resistances. So thermal resistance at the interface can be given by temperature drop at the interface over heat flux, that is heat transfer per unit area. Now, in our present case, we have two interfaces, AB and interface BC. So let us derive the expression for RTC AB and RTC BC. So thermal resistance at the interface AB, and it will be represented by RTC AB, can be given by temperature drop at the interface, that is T1 minus T2, to the heat flux, that is Q over A, or it is also represented by T1 minus T2 over heat flux. Heat transfer per unit area is nothing but flux, and its unit is meter square Kelvin per watt. Similarly, thermal resistance at the interface BC so I can give expression for this as RTC BC is equal to T3 minus T4 over heat flux Q. So this way I can calculate thermal contact resistance at the interface. So in this analysis, in this discussion, we have talked about what is thermal contact resistance, how does it affect the heat transfer rate, what are the different factors affecting thermal contact resistance, and how we can minimize the value and effect of thermal contact resistance. Now, before thermal contact resistance, we have also come across thermal resistance. So both the terms sound same, but there is a difference between thermal resistance and thermal contact resistance. So let us compare them one by one. Otherwise, it creates lot of confusion. So first, the unit of thermal contact resistance is meter square Kelvin per watt, whereas the general unit of thermal resistance is Kelvin per watt. Thermal contact resistance occurs at interface only, whereas thermal resistance is offered by slab material. The third difference, if perfect contact exists between the surfaces, value of thermal contact resistance RTC can be 0. However, the value of thermal resistance cannot be 0 in any case. So these are the differences between thermal contact resistance and thermal resistance. So do not get confused. Both are the resistances, but their significances are different. With this, we come to an end of this video.